For the next 3 weeks leading up to the election, I'm going to be covering not the presidential election, but the ballot measures that are on the Oregon ballot this year. That's measure 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, and 100. Doesn't that sound super fun and exciting? Hello world and welcome to this video. As always, I'm your host, Jesse Pettibone, which makes sense because this video is on the YouTube channel, Jesse Pettibone. I want to bust right through this because I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about the national presidential election. There's a lot of talk about the presidential election, way too much talk about the presidential election. I'm so over the presidential election. And thank goodness we are only 3 weeks out from finally voting for the president of the US. Here's what's up. I want to talk about framing, because that's a tool that we use in our grassroots organizing. That's right folks, I do grassroots organizing people on the ground, particularly at college campuses, to do things politically. Framing is a tool that we use when we're talking about the way that we talk about our movement. And the big tip that we give is to never use the frame of your opponent. For example, in divestment, we have our boards of trustees who are saying, oh, we won't divest because there will be economic losses. Now our campaigns could come back against that with all the research that shows that there will not be losses. However, that's giving into their framings, and where we have our power is not in this economic argument, even though we actually are right. Where we have our power is through the people. We come back and we say, what is the price tag you're going to put on these human lives? These people's lives are in danger, our communities are threatened via climate change. The fossil fuel industry is extracting people's lands, and we are hurling ourselves towards irreversible damage, and unless we do something to mitigate that and help people along the way, it's just gonna get bad. We've already seen it get bad, and it's gonna continue getting bad. That's an example of this economic frame, and then we shifted the frame and said, hey, what about these people? This is our frame. That's where we have strength and power. And it's important to know where we have our power. When it comes to the election, we've seen this happen in the way that we talk about Clinton versus Trump, because we see the media portraying them on pretty equal footing. When we have discussions about Trump's policies, what we're doing is giving into that framing that he's even qualified to be president. And we shouldn't be doing that, because what's more important is that Donald Trump is not at all qualified to be president. We cannot even talk about his policies because he just is not fit for the presidency. I'm gonna spill 3 quick reasons why I don't think he's qualified for the presidency, and then we'll move on to the next thing, the moral thing that we can pull from this as a lesson to apply to the future. Here's what's up. Number 1, Donald Trump did not even want to be president. He ran, he didn't think he would get this far. He even said so, not like casually, not on Twitter. He said this in his nomination acceptance speech when the Republican Party voted him to be their nominee. He said, I did not think this would happen. End quote. Straight up, it terrifies me that this person didn't even want to be president. They didn't run to win the presidency. And this isn't just a thing that you do. Number 2, Donald Trump's ego is running for presidency. And Donald Trump's ego gives no about you at all. So people are voting for Trump thinking that he represents them, when in reality, Donald Trump only represents himself. All of his policies, everything that he would do in presidency is only for himself. Donald Trump doesn't care about you, and that's not someone that you want as your president. And then the third thing is, of course, that Donald Trump is reckless and insane, has an awful temperament, and acts basically like a child. Like most of us behave better than Donald Trump. We're trying to stop internet trolls. We're trying to stop people from harassing people on the internet. Donald Trump does it all in real life. A lot of people really hate Hillary Clinton. I respect that. But people are thinking because they hate Hillary Clinton, they're gonna vote for Donald Trump because they just really hate Hillary Clinton. However, I would like to acknowledge that you lost your chance to do that when the Republican Party nominated Donald Trump as their nominee. I don't even think most of you voted in the primaries, so I don't really want you complaining that these are your options, because who voted for that to be your option? You didn't. You let it happen. And that's why I'm really mad that the Republican Party is now denouncing Donald Trump, as if they didn't elect him to be their nominee, as if they didn't have other options, as if this thing that's currently happening, this current madness around Donald Trump, the new stuff, as if we're surprised. Like, you shouldn't be surprised, and you let this happen a long time ago, and now it's a little too late. Like, legally, constitutionally, there's no way out of Donald Trump being the Republican nominee, because those are the laws you set in place. Should have thought of that months ago. And then there's a bunch of people who are thinking, I'm gonna protest vote. I'm gonna protest vote for a third party. Ugh. I'm gonna protest vote for a third party. Everybody's saying this year is not the year to vote for third party. There's too much at stake, but they say that every year. When will it ever be our time? And they're just telling us that. They're not just telling us that. We need to change the frame that we have about the election. That the presidency is this end-all seat, and whoever gets there is going to have amazing influence over the entire world. Because we actually have a lot of influence over how our government works, and voting for the presidency is like one of the smallest ways that we can do that. They have a lot of influence, but if we're looking for where our power lies, that's not it.
It's important to know where we have our power.
The reason that everybody says that this year is not the year to vote third party over and over again is because we have never put in the work to make a third party a valid option. The closest that we have seen was with what Bernie Sanders did before the primaries. Bernie Sanders raised record-breaking amounts of money via amounts of like no more than $26. Bernie Sanders broke these records. He was amazing. I do grassroots organizing, and I see a lot of the work that people put in on the ground, and I've seen a lot of stuff that really resonated with me as a grassroots organizer, because I've seen the power when we turn out numbers. When you look at the influence that the third parties currently have, various third parties, but they don't have a strong enough basis. They don't have the people on the ground and the people in lower level offices to help them get things to actually change the world. So even if we nominate a third party into the office right now, they're not going to be able to get anything done because we don't have enough of them filling other seats. We don't have enough of us fully believing them on the ground. And there's evidence of that because we've seen what Bernie Sanders did, and we haven't seen that with other third parties. I think there's a lot of options in the future, and there's a lot of ways to accomplish that, but this election, there's only one qualified person who can realistically be elected on the ballot. And we also made that happen when we did what we did when we actually had power. It sucks, but this year, once again, isn't the year to vote third party, and I think that we need to look at who can realistically be elected, who's qualified for the presidency, and then we just need to elect them and move on with our lives. Because the sooner we do that, the sooner we can start doing the work that we actually make a huge impact. We need to get involved in our communities on the state level, the regional level, the local level, the municipal level. There are a ton of people who are doing work that is directly impacting our communities. There are people who are on the ground trying to get policies that are supported by various parties, not just the two parties. But when they come to you, and it's not all over the media, and they come to you in person, they come to your door, they go to your farmer's market, they whatever, you turn your eye to them. And we can't do that anymore. You know we have elections every 2 years? What? I know, right? We don't just vote for president. That's where I'm at. That's what I'm feeling. This is what's up. This is my YouTube channel. I'm dedicating myself and my YouTube channel to continuing to make this kind of stuff happen. So, for the next 3 weeks leading up to the election, I'm going to be covering not the presidential election, but the ballot measures that are on the Oregon ballot this year. That's measure 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, and 100. Doesn't that sound super fun and exciting? I think that it'd be really fun and cool and convenient for you if I made videos talking about these measures. So if you subscribe to my YouTube for the next 3 weeks, you'll be seeing videos about each of those things, and they're gonna be quick, easy to understand, and also entertaining because I'll be hosting them. Is that what this is? Am I a host? I know you're all really interested in 97. What's it really about? What will it really mean? I'm still confused by those commercials and the ads that everyone's putting on Twitter. I'm gonna find out the truth. It's nice for me, I have to do a lot of research, but I wanna do that. And so it just makes sense that I would bring it to you in a way easier way because I don't want you to have to do all the research that I'm gonna do. And then once I'm done covering all the measures, I'm gonna cover the gubernatorial race because Kate Brown is running for re-election as our state governor of Oregon. Woo woo woo! I love Kate Brown. And then there's like some other guy running against her. Once this election process is over, I'm gonna continue bringing you amazing quality content here on YouTube. I'm gonna be bringing you super fun updates about what our senators and representatives are doing on the state level here in Oregon. Sorry, every other state maybe I'll be in drag sometimes talking about what Merkley's doing. That sounds fun, doesn't it? You're like, what? Maybe I'll bring you the best and worst songs of the current week, but I'll relate them to what our senators and representatives are doing in Salem. And then it'll be relatable and understandable, and you'll be like, metaphors up the wazoo. If you're still watching this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you're about to leave, give it a thumbs up. If you really didn't like this video, don't put hate comments in my comments, because I don't really care and I'll probably just delete them. But you can give me a dislike because I'll still get money from that. If any of that sounded interesting, make sure you push subscribe. And if you are kind of interested but have a recommendation for something I could do that would make it interesting, put it in the comments and I would love to do that for you. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe. Stuff's coming right now. Bye. Really want, hit me up in the comments, and if you're from another state and you want me to do this for you, and then maybe I will open a Patreon, and then you can fund me to do that, because I have to work and it's also so much time and effort to research these research policies, stay up to date, and then write a script, and then shoot a video, and then edit the video. So I mean, if you wanted to fund me to have that job, I would totally do it. I'll start a whole organization for it. I'm just saying. Hit me up in the comments if you want to do that. That was even bigger than this, which is this emoji, the like hands like this that are like that's what this is, and this is more. You can't even emoji that, you have to GIF it.